June 27, 1976. Air France Flight 139 lifts off from Tel Aviv. It's a routine passenger route carrying 248 people, largely expecting a quiet trip to Paris. But a few hours later, the flight path suddenly veers off course. Heavily armed members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, alongside 2 German militants, storm the cockpit and take control of the aircraft mid-air. The hijackers force the plane toward Entebbe, Uganda, a destination chosen because the country's dictator, Idi Amin, was willing to provide state support. Upon landing, Amin's own soldiers joined the hijackers to guard the perimeter. Inside the airport terminal, the captors began a chilling process. They read off the passengers' names and systematically separated the Jewish and Israeli hostages from the rest of the group. Over the next few days, the non-Israeli passengers were gradually released. By holding over 100 specific individuals captive with the backing of a hostile head of state, the hijackers trapped the Israeli government. They issued an ultimatum: release 53 pro-Palestinian militants within 48 hours, or the executions would begin. Look at the geography. Entebbe is 2,500 miles away. A rescue force must cross immense stretches of radar-monitored airspace. The terminal is a fortress. Soldiers patrol the perimeter, terrorists hold the hostages, and the building is wired with explosives. For Israeli leadership, the options are bleak. The historical precedent in these situations is to negotiate and concede to the demands. Launching a ground assault risks triggering a bloodbath. Israeli military planners were staring at a lethal equation with almost zero margin for error. Sending soldiers to Entebbe meant risking the lives of the hostages and the rescue team against a clock that was rapidly running out. Despite the staggering risks, the Israeli cabinet secretly greenlights a military strike. They decide against negotiations, banking everything on a high-speed surprise assault. To even attempt this, they need to know exactly what the terminal looks like inside. By a stroke of luck, the Entebbe terminal was built by an Israeli construction firm years earlier. Planners tracked down the original blueprints, giving them the exact locations of every corridor and entryway. On the night of July 3, 1976, 4 heavy transport planes rumble down a runway in the dark. Inside are elite commandos from Israel's Sayeret Matkal Special Forces, preparing for a fight. To reach Uganda undetected, the pilots fly blind for hours. They drop to roughly 100 feet above the Red Sea, skimming the waves in complete radio silence to avoid triggering Egyptian and Saudi radar systems. The entire operation hinges on this precise stealth. If a single radar operator catches a blip, or a single radio transmission is intercepted, the hijackers at Entebbe will have hours to prepare. The planes reach the Entebbe runway under the cover of night. The lead aircraft touches down quietly, its cargo ramp already lowering before the wheels even stop rolling. Out drives a black Mercedes limousine, flanked by Land Rovers. The commandos intentionally matched the exact make and model of the convoy used by Idi Amin, hoping the perimeter guards would mistake them for the dictator himself. It works. For a few critical moments, the Ugandan soldiers hesitate. That brief confusion allows the Israeli strike team to close the gap across the open tarmac. The illusion shatters when a guard raises his rifle. The commandos open fire, breach the doors, and pour into the terminal. The assault splits into 2 simultaneous strikes. One team clears the main hall, neutralizing the hijackers in close-quarters combat. Outside, another squad destroys a line of Ugandan MiG fighter jets parked on the tarmac to ensure the transport planes won't be pursued during the escape. Inside, soldiers shout in Hebrew for the hostages to stay down. Amidst the gunfire and smoke, the commandos secure the survivors and immediately rush them out the doors toward the idling aircraft. 7 days of intense political pressure and thousands of miles of geographical barriers were dismantled in less than 10 minutes of kinetic precision. The Israeli planes lift off into the night sky, carrying 102 rescued hostages safely back home. But the victory is scarred by tragedy. The commander of the assault unit, Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu, was fatally wounded during the firefight. When the sun rises over Uganda, the evidence of the raid is undeniable. The terminal is scarred by gunfire, the hijackers are dead, and Uganda's air force lies in ruins on the tarmac. This mission established the blueprint for modern counterterrorism, proving that long-range rescue operations were possible. Today, military academies across the globe still dissect these 10 minutes, to teach the mechanics of intelligence, deception, and precise strikes. The crisis at Entebbe presented an impossible geographical and tactical trap, but it ultimately proved that with precise intelligence, extreme speed, and undeniable courage, even the most impenetrable fortresses can be breached.